Welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, and today we're going to be doing an in-frame tubing a tire. And why do we have to do it this way? Well, a couple things happen that will force you to do it this way. And one is, in this case, the bolt that holds the tire on has oxidized and we can't budge it, and we're afraid of twisting it off. So we're going to do it this way. The other way that you run into is you get the bolt out or you get the clip out and you can't get the rim to come off. And too many times I've seen people just take sledgehammers and wail on the back of the rim trying to get it loose, only to destroy the rim. This way takes a few more minutes, but in the end it's a lot easier. You jack the machine up, make sure that you got jack posts underneath the rear end so it can't drop down on you. You get the one side broke free, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the hammer and I'm going to hit the back side of the tire, not touching the rim to do any damage. Now that he's got the tire completely broke free, we got to cut the valve stem off because it was a tubeless tire to start with. So we use a razor knife for that. Now, once this is cut free, you have two pieces, remember. You have the top part, and then you also want to grab the other side of that valve stem so it's not left inside to puncture the tube. So now that we have it there, now we need to get the tube to get put into the tire. See, he's getting old. He's 73. Alright, so now we're back at it, and what he's trying to do is he wants to line the valve stem up so that the hole in the tire in the rim is going to be where you need it for that. But you first want to make sure that you don't have any sharp objects in there, and take the cloth. Don't use your bare hands. Take a cloth and go right around it, and you'll feel if there's something there that caused the puncture. In this case, the sidewalls are starting to break down from cracking, and you could tube a lot of those tires as long as it's got decent tread left on it. You can also put on a new tire this way without tubing it if you decide to go that route, just popping it the rest of the way off the rim. So now what you have to do is you have to line up the valve stem with the hole that's in the actual rim, and you have to keep turning that rim so that you can get it, the hole is on top, is where we do it. And then we can take the tube, find the valve stem in the tube, and get that aligned in the top tube before we push it in. And you can see he starts pushing it in, but the first thing you want to do is get that valve stem through. And we have a valve stem tool that you could take the center out and you could thread it onto the valve stem to hold it there. What I'm calling the valve stem is actually the inside part, but it's the actual outside of the tube. You thread it right onto it, and it'll just hold that from being pulled back in. Once you have that so it can't pull back in, then you can go back pushing it in over the rim into the tire. Excuse me. Now you, Jason, have brought up a couple things that we could mention here too, is when you go to blow this tube up, you want to make sure that you don't overinflate it too quickly, and you talked about using just the air gun. Now with putting the tire back on, you want to make sure you don't pinch the tube with your tools. You need to push in on one section of the tire to get it started. And I'm going to have to lay the camera down in order for me to push hard enough for him to do it. A lot of times if you have the tire off, you can use your knee to kind of push down on it. Also, using the talcum powder or baby powder like you mentioned, Amos, is a great idea too. Now that he's got it on, we're going to use needle nose pliers to hold the actual stem up so we can take the tool off. I'm going to grab the air hose so that we can continue on our way here to get air into it. Again, the key to this is you don't want to put too much air too fast into that tube. If you watch Claude, he does short bursts and then he'll start to bring it up. By doing it with short bursts, it allows the tube inside to kind of center itself so that it's not in a pinch. I can't stress it enough. This is not where you need to be in a hurry. You just take your time. Once that's done, he's checking to make sure the bead's on in the front and the back. Is to just take and find out what the correct PSI is on it and then put it in and then lower the jack. Again, thanks so much for watching our videos. This one's just kind of short and sweet to show you how we do it at the shop.